Welcome back to another episode of Believe in TCU, presented by FanDuel. I'm Zion Trammell, and I'm joined by Seth Dowdle here as we're recording on this Sunday morning, talking about a rather disappointing loss that TCU football suffered on Friday at the hands of Arizona State, 27-24 in TCU's first conference game of the season. A lot of hype, lots of expectations, but TCU could not pull out the victory. They came up short. So, look, we've had a little bit of time to calm down, decompress, get our thoughts out. Doesn't mean that we're not going to be a little bit upset or passionate in this episode, but we're going to break it all down for you today. Seth, the floor's yours, man. Go for it. Let's talk about it.
Listen, you're going to lose football games. I'll start there. You're going to lose football games. No one entered this TCU football season thinking that TCU wasn't going to lose a couple games at least. I think we had 9-3 is what our record prediction was. And listen, I predicted that they were going to lose this game in the preseason. Why are we even surprised? Why are we sad? This was going to happen. This was always going to happen.
Yeah.
This was always going to happen. In all seriousness, that one was a stinker. That was a stinker. You snatched defeat from the jaws of victory is what TCU did. And even then, the football gods almost gave it back to them. Like, the fact that you had, and I know we'll get into all the nitty gritty of it, the fact that you had 10 rushing yards on the night total. I know sack yards are included in that, but you had 10 net rushing yards. And you had the ball with a minute and a half left, with no timeouts to go down and try and kick a game-tying field goal, or maybe, God forbid, score a touchdown and win the game. The fact that that was happening is an abject miracle.
It was, and I think part of it was just due to the incredible start that TCU got in this game, 17-0. You think, okay, things are starting to click, and TCU might just roll out of here with an easy win. You know, I expected Arizona State to punch back. I did not expect expected in the way that they did and how quickly it happened. And a lot of that was because of Jordan Tyson. We had talked about in the preview how he is going to be the X factor, and how is TCU going to find a way to try to slow him down. You know, other guys just haven't really stepped up for Arizona.
Just don't slow him down. Just let him do his thing. Just let him go. Just let him run.
So he did. He had 8 catches, 126 yards, and 2 touchdowns. When he had that 57-yard touchdown, I think Seth and I were like, okay, like, at least in my thought process was, okay, this is gonna happen. You know, Jordan Tyson, he was gonna make a play at some point.
You're gonna put him one-on-one with Channing Canada. That's like not gonna result in good things.
Yeah, and it didn't. It resulted in a really bad play there and a touchdown. And we're like, okay, you know what? That's gonna happen. And then he just continued to terrorize the TC defense. Obviously, that 4th and goal, you know, the play before, great coverage.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that was by Channing Canada.
It was.
He did a
great
job on that 3rd and goal. And then 4th and goal happened. And he's like, okay, he took that personally, and he's going to score the touchdown. Now, there was some miscommunication, it feels like, with the secondary.
Yeah, Bud Clark went to the wrong guy.
Yeah,
at least by my like from I have like slow-mo watched that play like about 10 times now, I think, at this point. And Bud Clark could have dropped back and helped out, because I don't know who was on Tyson, but he was beat. Yeah. And if Bud Clark just kind of drifts back a little bit, that's not open. And maybe Sam Levitt finds somewhere else to go, but that easy peasy pitch and catch wouldn't have been available to him.
It's true. Yeah, that's kind of how I was able to look at that play, and it's kind of unfortunate that you have a miscommunication in the biggest play of the game. So
I do hesitate. I hesitate to put any of this on the defense, though. I think they played a heck of a game. I know they gave up almost 500 yards. But the only reason TCU even had a shot was because the defense came up with some really clutch plays on some very important downs throughout this game. This one's on the offense.
100%. Yeah. I was gonna save some of that, but I want to talk about it now.
Yeah.
Let's just do it with the defense. Yeah, I think it was kind of a bend but don't break performance, but they came up big in those, like that 4th and 2. Marcus Steele, he had a great game. The D tackles were tremendous for TCU. Marcus Steele blowing up that 4th and 2 play. He was terrific. Caleb Elarmzor was
Best game of his
flying.
career, probably.
He was flying, Seth. Oh my gosh. All over the field. 13 total tackles, 2 sacks, had a pass breakup in the red zone on I think it was like 2nd or 3rd and goal or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember at what point during the game that happened, but Caleb Elarmzor was tremendous. Nnamdi Obiizor was great for TCU as well. Jamel Johnson had another good game. The TCU defense definitely played pretty solid. And like, I know they kind of got gashed on a little bit on the ground, but I don't know. I can't. This might be the first time I've ever been like happy with the defensive performance after giving up dang near 500 yards.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured that this was going to be a defensive performance or a defensive team that was going to be a little bit bend. They were going to bend because that's kind of what they were last year. I was hoping that they would break less. Was my hope, and that was certainly the case today. Now, some of that's on Arizona State just being an abject disaster in crucial downs. Like they could not find it in the red zone whatsoever. Like to the point where whenever Arizona State got to like the 3-yard line with like less than a minute left to tie the game or whatever, I was like, they're not going to score. I had this confidence that they were just going to mess it up, and we almost got there, obviously, but it didn't happen. But yeah, fantastic performance by them. I keep like running back some of Max Carroll made a redemption play in the red zone at one point. Just some really good tackling. Now, you maybe could have done a better job at containing Sam Levitt, but I still think they did a fine job with that. Some of that's just Sam Levitt's going to Sam Levitt. He's really good at escaping pressure. One of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen at evading sacks and not getting down. But overall, I mean, yeah, just a heck of a game by everybody. I'd say that maybe some people lower down in the depth chart had some issues with Jordan Tyson, but who's not going to have issues with Jordan Tyson? And it's just, I think the defensive game plan could have been a little bit better around him, but other than that, I think it was pretty fine.
Yeah, Arizona State's got playmakers. I mean, obviously Jordan Tyson, one of the best wide receivers in the country. Raleek Brown is a really good running back, and Sam Levitt, man, I mean, you want to get mad at the defense for not being able to bring down Sam Levitt. I'm not really sure what to say there. I just don't think you can be. I mean, he looked like Lamar Jackson out there. The way he was able to evade tackles and awareness in the pocket, his footwork was unbelievable. I mean, it's just, you just got to tip the cap sometimes and think, I mean, goodness gracious, you can't bring this guy down because he's so smart and knows exactly where he is at all times. So I'm not really going to be mad at the defense for that. Again, yeah, there were some plays. I will say where things really were frustrating and started to unravel were, I believe, I apologize. I'm getting where I'm mixed up a little bit of when things happened, but it was the pass interference on that 4th and 11, followed by the roughing the passer on Devin Deal. First of all, I know that was a late call, and if it should not have been as late as it was. However, it was the right call. Yes, Channing Canada. That was. I thought he was getting flagged for like taunting or something because he like kind of threw his arms up, like crossed his arms, and I was like, oh no. But then it was pass interference.
But that call came in 2026. Like that call came from the future. That's how late that was.
That was a very late call. you can't have that. And then Devin Deal with the roughing the passer. I mean, the ball was out 3 seconds later. He pushes him over. Like, that is stuff you just cannot happen that late in a game trying to close it out. And that's where I will criticize the defense a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. There was some, and I know that this was not on them. There was the horse collar tackle. I'll put that in air quotes on that last drive. I know that was not a horse collar, but still, bad penalty. There. I mean, TCU was not disciplined in this game.
Yeah.
I think would be a good way to like overarch it around all the position groups. Lack of discipline. John Dimon, what are we doing on that last kickoff? Like,
yeah,
like that was bad. I know we'll talk about it all in a little bit, but I'd say overall on the defense, right? I can't pin this one on the defense because the offense, if they had just done their job, the defense would not have been put in opportunities in situations to fail. If that makes any sense. To where they had to be relied on countless times for TCU just to maintain a lead. And at a certain point, it became untenable. It reminds me a lot of a certain game that happened around this time last season.
The UCF game. Yep,
yes,
exactly. Where
this is almost a carbon copy of it.
TCU had a big lead, except they were at home, and they couldn't put away UCF because they couldn't run the ball. And then RJ Harvey ran right down our throats, and there's just not much you can do. Like, they weren't on. TCU's defense was on the field a ton. And yeah, that's what happened. Malik Brown started to run the ball well, and the offense couldn't do enough, and Arizona State ended up winning this game. And that's kind of where I want to segue into the next point is we've kind of been talking about it, but the offense, yeah, we've got to talk about it. The late game mistakes were bad, and I mean, the offensive line play, TCU had a chance. Arizona State's kicker, can't remember his name. He missed a 43-yard field goal when the score was 24-17. TCU had an opportunity to kind of extend the lead or try to put this game away, and Josh Hoover was sacked 3 times in that possession, and TCU had to punt. And, oh my gosh, Seth, I mean, it was bad. Part of that, I will say, Josh Hoover's pocket awareness was not amazing. It was not great, but oh man, did the offensive line have a rough game for the Frogs.
Yeah, and I'll say that we didn't talk about it that much last weekend because I don't think they played their best against SMU either. But Josh's pocket awareness and like his ability to make unscripted plays last week was like really good. Like and they also got lucky a couple of times. I remember the 3rd and 15 where he gets hit and he chucks it up, and Eric McAllister is just sitting there like a center fielder at the 50-yard line and just catches it. And SMU is like, what the frick just happened?
Mm-hmm.
That you weren't getting away with that on Friday night. Those types of things. And also I think Arizona State's front is better than SMU's. And so, yeah, they bullied TCU in that second half. And it was frankly embarrassing to watch. Like he had no time, but also like no pocket presence either. And that's just one of the issues with the offense, right? I mean, maybe it all stems from the offensive line, but I think part of the reason why they were able to just pin their ears back and rush the passer was because you couldn't run the ball either.
No Kavorian Barnes, and I don't think we were as concerned as we maybe should have been, because they're like, well, it looked fine against SMU, but Arizona State's run defense was much more up to the task. Trent Battle was the leading rusher with 9 carries for 30 yards, and then Jeremy Payne had 6 carries for 20 yards. No one else ran the football. And then, yeah, like you mentioned, Seth, a net total of 10 because of all the sack yards, whatever, and TCU couldn't run the football. And so Kendall Briles is like, all right, well, Josh Hoover, you got to drop back and try to throw this ball. And nothing was working. And, oh, by the way, you don't have your number 1 wide receiver in Eric McAllister. So,
yeah,
good luck.
Apparently pulled something on Friday. And or on Thursday or whenever their last practice was before the game, and was limited for sure. And even when he was in, it was not. I mean, he was getting blanketed, and even I don't even think it would have mattered because he was limping pretty significantly. But yeah, the second that Arizona State realized that TCU was not going to be able to run the football, and TCU had to abandon. Can you believe that this sentence is about to say TCU was up 17-0 and 24-17 at one point, and they had to abandon the run?
Oh man.
That's something you say when you're down by 25.
Yeah.
They had to, and what was really baffling to me was the play calling around that. You would have thought you might, cook up some pass plays that might be pseudo runs, right? Cook up some screens that kind of act like the run game in a way, right? Keep the clock churning. Try to pick up 4 or 5 yards, right? Set up yourself better on second down. That's another thing. TCU on first down, I don't know what their success rate was on first down. I'm going to have to look that up in a second. That it was abysmal. They found themselves in second and long pretty much on every drive.
It was bad. And it kind of brings up with Kendall Briles a little bit. There was some brief levels of sauce from Kendall Briles. I was absolutely flabbergasted when he pulled out two of the wildest trick plays I've seen from TCU's offense back to back. Like he starts I can't even explain what that was, that run to Major Everhart. And then he's like, you like that? How about Joseph Manjak's going to throw a pass to, I mean, I don't even know who caught the pass, but it was hilarious. I could not believe it. So random. But then after that, he's like, all right, that's all I got. I mean, it was really rough, especially on first down.
Yeah, and that was also like they couldn't run the ball, so like they would hand it off on first down. You're looking to get what 4, 5 yards, right?
Yeah.
Set up a 2nd and 6, set up a 2nd and 5. They get stuff at the line or behind the line of scrimmage, and before you know it, it's 2nd and 10. It was a carbon copy of the UCF game. I found myself being like, this is exactly what happened in the UCF game. And what was a little bit discouraging is that they didn't learn the lesson of maybe what to do if this happened again.
Mm-hmm. It's
They just
frustrating.
tried to do the exact same thing. Their defense was playing better than it was in the UCF game. I thought, right? The defense in the UCF game was atrocious. Andy Avalos was kind of up to the task in this one, but even then, the offense still could not get it done. It was. I have their success rate stats up here. TCU had a 35% overall success rate, which what that means is you're looking for 50% on first down, like you're looking for 50% of the necessary yardage on first down. So you're looking for 5 yards on first. 75 on second, and 100% on third and fourth. So TCU had 35% success rate overall. In the fourth quarter, though, on passing downs, which was most of TCU's downs in the fourth quarter, TCU had a 17% success rate, which was the lowest of anything in the game.
That's bad.
Yeah. It was very bad. We could talk about specific moments. I look back at the. I mean, all of it came down to like the last 2 minutes is what I feel like I remember the most out of anything. But I don't know about you, but when TCU went up 24-17, they had that major response drive after Arizona State had tied it up at 17. I'm like, okay, do that again. I know, Toby, right? Yeah, do that again. And they just didn't do it again.
It didn't happen, and I admittedly was just disappointed in the way that TCU was unable to kind of try to either take the lead or even this game up. I mean, Josh Hoover just didn't have his best stuff. Really, he really didn't. And I'm seeing a lot of overreactions about Josh Hoover and about Sonny Dykes, and look, those simply just got to stop. Like, Josh Hoover is still a great quarterback. He's in college, people. He is not Patrick Mahomes. Okay, I know we might think he is. I know we might think he's the best quarterback in the country, but he is not. He's still got a lot of learning and development to go through. He's going to have some bad games. He is not, he's human. Okay. Arizona State is a good football team playing on the road in on Friday night, shortened week. I'm not trying to make excuses because he does have to be better, but those games are going to happen. The world, it's not the world is not crashing down on Josh Hoover. He'll be fine. It's okay to be frustrated with the way that he played, but I hate the overreaction that he's not a good quarterback anymore, or Sonny Dykes needs to be fired. I mean, I'm sick of seeing that stuff, personally. But at the end of the day, like, if you look at it from this game, no, he did not play great, and like there were several decisions that he made that were questionable. He threw 2 interceptions. He arguably could have had 4. There were a lot of tipped passes and forced decisions, and maybe that's due to the lack of a running game. But Hoover's still great. He'll be okay. Just was not a great game, and I think that's where you have to evaluate it. And he's got to be better.
He probably felt like he had to press a little bit and be Superman, which is not where you want your quarterback to be. You want to be comfortable. You want him to, not try to force things. I do want it to be known that this particular TCU show was not one of the. I saw some peddling, Josh Hoover's a lock now to go to New York for the Heisman ceremony. That did not come out of our mouths.
No, it didn't.
I have not said that once. I saw some national shows peddling this as well. Like, saw one saying that if this is your last, if you really want to bet Hoover to the Heisman, this would be your last chance to get really good value on it before this game. I'd say if you want to bet low on him now, you can do that because I bet you his odds drop significantly following this performance. We need to take a step back and think about who Josh Hoover is. He is a wild boy. He is prone to games where he does not see it all that well. He's gonna make some plays where you're like, oh my gosh, that is Patrick Mahomes. I'm thinking about the one against SMU. He's rolling to his right. He runs back 20 yards, throws it across his body. Eric McAllister leaves up, touchdown, right? That's crazy play. A throw, arguably, I would say, don't make that throw.
Yeah.
Don't do that. But he does it, and sometimes it works. And sometimes it doesn't when he tries to force things like he did at the end of the Arizona State game. He throws an interception, and they lose. That's who he is. And maybe he can grow out of that. But I'd say that part of the charm of the Josh Hoover experience is that he is a gunslinger who's going to chuck it at you possibly 35, 40 times a day. And sometimes he's going to be lights out. And sometimes when your defense has you figured out, he's not. And hopefully moving forward, the run game can be established better. Maybe that happens with Kavorian Barnes. Maybe that happens with some improved offensive line play. Maybe that improves because you play some less stout defensive fronts. But regardless, it wasn't a good game by him. Needs to improve.
100%. And it's, you mentioned that. Yeah, the great throws. The one that he threw to Jordan Dwyer where he lofted it over linebacker very early on in the game. I think one of his first completions, just an incredible throw. And then, yeah, he's going to have those questionable decisions. But just because we don't think he's not like one of the 4 best quarterbacks in the country does not mean that we don't believe in him. Like, we love Josh Hoover.
He's the best option on the roster right now. So I want to make that very clear. Like, if you think that the option is to go to Ken Seals, then that's what you want TCU to lose every game?
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely not the option. But yeah, look, there were a lot of cold takes. Speaking of cold takes, I think we got to address it, Seth. I was on freezing cold takes on Saturday.
I saw that you were.
Or on Friday night.
What an honor.
So I write for TCU Horned Frogs on SI, and every week we make our predictions for the TCU game. Well, we are all TCU writers, right? And they're playing good football. So, of course, we're all going to pick TCU. Let's see. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of us all picked TCU. They obviously did not win. Freezing cold takes. I don't know where, or why they got that screenshot, but they did and posted it on Twitter. And the reaction I had to that kind of lightened how I felt after the game. I was like, no way, right? Like, what am I doing here? That was hilarious. Some of the comments said, when you let the TV think for you, nice job, in air quotes, experts. Um, and a lot of just laughing. And
Did
I was
people
like,
understand? I don't think people understood that this was a TCU site, though.
I mean, I
Maybe
hope
maybe they did.
it's
Maybe they
it
didn't. I don't
says
know.
TCU Horned Frogs on SI at the top.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay.
I
Well,
I hope that, you know, but a lot of forks up, holy horned frog delusion. Yeah, how
I
gosh,
don't think, guys. How could we be? Listen, guys. We just beat one of our biggest rivals at home in the final installment of a game by double digits. We're coming to a new game. We're ranked in the top 25. By the way, I did want to. Like delusional to think that we could win the football game against an Arizona State team that lost to Mississippi State a couple weeks ago.
I
Delusional,
didn't
huh?
I didn't say that we'd win by 40. My score prediction was 31-26. And if TCU scored a touchdown at the end, that's almost the exact score that would have happened. But you know what? It didn't happen. Okay? You know what?
I also want to. Like. I saw a lot of people calling this an upset for Arizona State, that they upset us. Arizona State was favored by 3.5 points, I want to say, and TCU covered.
Yeah. That's like, come on, guys. That was not an
TCU
upset.
cover. TCU cover. Hey, good teams win. Great teams cover.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
TCU is 3-1 ATS this year.
Yeah, not bad. And also, there was actually a lot of Arizona State fans that listened to our preview. Got a few comments on YouTube about us picking TCU, and they were like, "You guys, Arizona State's gonna win this football game." Shout out to those Arizona State listeners. We appreciate
Thank
y'all.
you.
We've
Thank
got
you for listening to the show.
truly, like, I'll just say this: I have nothing against Arizona State. I like Sam Levitt. Well, Sam Levitt was a little cringy post game. I'll just say that, but he's a good quarterback. I don't. I don't have any Arizona State. Nothing against y'all. Like, it was a great game. We just thought TCU was gonna outplay them and win this game. They didn't. And hey, we're not afraid to. We're not going to run from that. You know, at the end of the day, that's not what happened. Shout out to the ASU fans for listening, and we appreciate y'all. And you know, look, we're TCU fans. Of course, we're going to pick TCU.
Can we run through some offensive players that played well? I know we're poo-pooing on the offense a lot, but I think there's a couple.
Yeah, let's do it. No, we can get to positivity.
I thought Joseph Manjack had another good game.
He was great. Yeah,
I think he's been cumulatively TCU's best wide receiver through 4 games.
Yeah, I mean,
he's played good in every game.
He's been good. Yeah, 6 catches, 83 yards. He's going to have a game. He's going to have a play every single game now where he's like, oh, he's going down. Oh my gosh, he got 5 more yards and is reaching for the end zone. It's like, it's Joseph Manjack. He's always fighting, and he's fun to watch.
I thought DJ Rogers, the tight ends have been involved. He had 4 catches for 60 yards. Not too eye popping, but second leading receiver. Ed Small had a really big catch.
He did.
And he actually, the broadcasting crew mentioned that he kind of reminds the team of Jack Besh, and I realized that he reminds me of Jack Besh as well. He kind of looks like him.
Yeah. Where it's 18, it's there.
Yeah, kind of bulky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a freshman, so
he's a freshman. Room to grow for sure. I'm looking at the rest of the roster, and none of them played well, so I'm not going to mention their names.
And that's where it ends right there.
I think that, obviously Eric McAllister was not a factor because he was hurt. Wish we had known that. Jordan Dwyer was poor. He had like that face mask. He had an offensive face mask.
Yeah, no, it seemed weird that the Hoover Dwyer connection was not there. 8 targets and Dwyer only had 3 catches.
And early on, he had gone to him 3 times, maybe his only 3 catches in the game. And I texted you, Josh Hoover only throws to one wide receiver a game. It was the Jordan Dwyer game against UNC, Joseph Manjack against Abilene Christian, and last week it was Eric McAllister. And so we're rotating, right? We got this is Jordan Dwyer's turn. We're back to him. And then after that, nothing.
Yeah. That is another thing.
You needed that without you needed a guy to step up with Eric McAllister not in the game, and they really didn't have a receiver. And maybe that's because Josh Hoover had no time to do anything. But yeah, it was a bad football game, bad football game. And I think if we want to talk about we'll know a whole lot about this team's mettle with how they respond against Colorado on Saturday night.
100%. Yeah, we'll have a Colorado preview coming up here in the next few days. But yeah, look, this was a big test here. Just kind of give you an idea of where TCU stands. Arizona State's great. They're going to be a Big 12 title contender, and that tiebreaker could be huge down the road. But you want to show me how legit and how serious you want to take this year. How serious of a team you actually are. Are you a team that's going to go out there and win football games this year? Respond nicely against a struggling Colorado team. And I think you're okay.
Play good against a Colorado team who the only play I saw was Caden Salter taking a 25-yard sack because he couldn't against BYU.
Yeah.
Literally, I had it on my television.
I
was getting some work done, and I look up, and Caden Salter is running, essentially sprinting backwards.
That's the one play you saw. Oh,
so beat that team.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah. You want to be a team that's going to be taken seriously, and you want to be a Big 12 title contender. You're at home. You got to take care of business against Colorado. There's no excuse.
Have to.
Should be fired up.
Deion's coming to town. I know he doesn't have the same allure that he did 2 years ago when he first came to Fort Worth, but still be amped up. Get revenge on this team that basically ruined your season in 2023. That team was not the same after that game. Also, we got to prove here's an underrated narrative. You have to prove it to Chandler Morris that he made the wrong decision for leaving. Because I gotta tell you, the feelings I felt watching in real time Chandler Morris beat Florida State. He had 3 rushing touchdowns, Zion.
It's crazy.
He was scooting. That's the best way I could describe Chandler Morris. He was scooting against Virginia. Watching that happen while TCU's offensive line basically collapsed in on itself was a feeling I never wanted to feel.
No bueno. Not good. But hey, shout out Chandler Morris.
Shout out. No, I know. I wish no ill will to Chandler Morris. I hope Chandler Morris and Diego Pavia play to their 45 in college.
They might. They very well could. That's on the table for sure. Yeah. No, it's definitely going to be an interesting game. TCU taking on Colorado, but we'll have the preview for that. Any final thoughts here
about the games? This game specifically?
Yeah, about this game.
Arizona State gave you every opportunity. They missed 2 field goals.
They did.
Yeah. I think the one thing I'm thinking about is if TCU really wanted to put this game away was whenever ASU went for it on 4th down in the second quarter and in their own territory and didn't get it. you go down and you kicked a field goal. TCU went down, kicked a field goal to make it 17-zip. If they had scored a touchdown there, I think this game maybe goes differently.
Yeah.
But
It
that's
probably does.
wishful thinking, and obviously we can play the what if game with this forever. The end all be all is that your quarterback, who you hoped we had all heralded as like one of the best in the conference, was the second best quarterback on the field. So
that's kind of what happened, and Arizona State winning this one 27-24. TCU likely, well, the AP poll is not dropped as we're recording this. TCU will be out of the AP poll, and they'll have to earn their way back in at some point. And hopefully they can.
It'll take a lot, I think, with their schedule. I think their schedule. Here's the thing. I think relative to TCU's talent level, I think their schedule is difficult. I don't think that beating Colorado is a given. I don't think that beating Kansas State is a given. I don't think beating Baylor is a given.
Yeah.
So I had this weird thought yesterday, or maybe a realization would be the better word, of like, I'm watching Alabama, Georgia, and Penn State, Oregon, and I'm hearing these hits, and like they sound violent, right? They just sound different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hearing that when TCU and Arizona State play each other. It's almost like a high five when TCU and Arizona State tackle each other.
That's an interesting observation. I gotta like
compared to like what the hits sound like in those two games. And basically what that tells you is they have different types of players. And like right now, the Big 12, maybe Texas Tech has some, but top to bottom, the Big 12 does not have the players necessary to compete at that level. And that made me a little sad, maybe a little bit, peeved that I don't root for a team that they're capable of doing anything more than maybe winning the conference. And right now, it's hard for me to say that TCU can do that because I just saw them play against one of the best teams in the league, and they put up a poo-poo stinker. So that's my one, little nugget. It just means more, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess it does.
No, that's an interesting observation. Yeah, those were two great games. Really enjoyed those. Unfortunate for Penn State. Couldn't get it done again.
Dan Lanning is inevitable.
What
a psychopath. Here's actually what I'd say. I think Dan Lanning recruits players that I think this is Dan Lanning's interview question. Whenever he's trying to recruit players to Oregon, do you want to kill me? And if they say yes, then he's like, welcome.
That I would not put that past Dan Lanning. That dude is such a great coach. I love Dan Lanning, but man, is he kind of a psycho. But sometimes you need that to be good in college football.
That's what you want, though, right? You want a player that's foaming at the mouth to go out there and like not hurt people, but like hit hard and make plays. And if you just get a bunch of players that are like just like
turn into the Hulk
the second they step onto the football field, then you're in good shape. And I think that's what Oregon has. And TCU, want to make that clear, does not have those types of players, at least like at the higher echelon of it. I think that they're motivated, but they don't have the talent level to compete for a national championship. I know I'm not breaking news here, but I'm.
No, I get what you're saying. And kind of looking, we'll look just quickly here at the Big 12. Either there's a lot of close games and a lot of blowouts. I mean, it just wasn't a ton of surprising results. Utah just unleashing everything on West Virginia, 48-14 win. Let's see what else. You had Iowa State destroying Arizona 39-14. So the Cyclones 5-0.
39. Come on, Matt. Get that to 40, please. God.
Yeah, just short of it. Baylor defeating Oklahoma State 45-27 in the first post Mike Gundy era game, but
there was a moment I thought they might do it.
I mean, I think they were down 28-20 at halftime. So that was interesting, but Baylor gets that bounce back win. Anything really you want to? I mean, I just feel like there wasn't much. Me personally, just from observing this Big 12 weekend.
It's a shame that TCU doesn't get OSU on their schedule this year.
It is a shame. No.
TCU gets West Virginia, which might be close to like a auto win. I hesitate to call it that, but West Virginia is not playing well against any of the other teams except for Pitt right now. So, you could honestly tell me that West Virginia came into the season going like, we'll beat Pitt, and then whatever happens, like they don't care.
Yeah, we'll just give it our all against Pitt's our Super Bowl. After that, who cares?
Because they lost 48-14 to Utah. Cincinnati, Kansas was fun. That was like kind of an old school, sort of slower pace shootout in the Big 12. I got to tell you, Kansas Stadium, I know that TCU fans have made fun of it because it just kind of looks like the Carter, but it looks like a really cool environment. And Kansas fans are showing up right now. I mean, they're 3-2 now after this loss to Cincinnati, but it's fun to see that KU football is kind of like back in the spotlight for that fan base, and then they're just waiting for basketball season to start. Cincinnati looks good. They were without their best defensive player and still won the game. So that's pretty neat for them. And then the BYU Colorado game, I mentioned that I didn't get to see much of it, but I did see Caden Salter running backwards in a straight line. Colorado was at 14-3 in that game at one point, and then BYU just kind of chipped away.
There are 4 remaining undefeated teams in the Big 12. BYU is one of them. Iowa State is at 5-0. Texas Tech did not play. They're 4-0. And then Houston at 4-0.
Oh, Houston had a walk-off field goal to beat Oregon State in overtime.
Yes. I don't know. I was looking, it was 24-10 with like 3 minutes left. And then I don't know how. And all of a sudden the game is tied.
So Oregon State had a field goal to win the game at the end of the fourth quarter, and Houston blocked it.
Oh, gosh.
And then obviously Houston wins in OT. And obviously Oregon State is bad. Like, we know this. Oregon State.
They are 0-5. Like to mention that.
So TCU gets, of the teams we just talked about, TCU gets Iowa State on their schedule. They get BYU, obviously get Colorado next week. They get Cincinnati. They get Baylor. They get K-State. A lot of those teams won this weekend, except for Colorado, who played BYU. It's a tough Big 12 schedule relative to the Big 12. I know if you're like an SEC fan listening to this, you're talking about that's not a hard schedule. I'm Oklahoma. We got to go play Texas and Florida, in Alabama and Auburn, and back-to-back weeks. And like, I get it. I understand. It's not as difficult. It's difficult for us, though, because we're literally the same team as those teams.
Exactly. It's just different here in the Big 12, okay? You gotta.
It just is different. That should be our saying. It's not. It just means more. It's just different.
It's just different, you know. I mean, look, that one team, Houston, could look like the worst team on planet Earth, and then next week they look like they're gonna win the national championship by how good they're playing. I mean, it's just the Big 12. No team is consistent. It's all over the place. And that makes every game difficult at the end of the day.
Yep. It is the league that keeps on giving. I did come to the realization, though, if Texas Tech is like really what we've kind of like elevated them to be, is like not just a Big 12 contender, but a potential like could win a playoff game contender, TCU is not stiff in that right now.
Yeah.
Like, I think if TCU played the current version of Texas Tech in the Big 12 title game, it wouldn't be close. Because Texas Tech's defensive line, I think, would make what ASU did look like giving candy to a baby. Like, make that look generous.
Yeah. It's early, and you know there's time for TCU to improve, and I think this is a good football team at the end of the day. I think there's still a lot of potential, but you know they got some work to do, and certainly they'll have their chance taking on Colorado at home. And we'll have that preview for you later on in the week, talking about that game. It's an important one for TCU, and it'll kind of show or legitimize how good this team really is. So
important stretch of 2 games here against 2 teams that are struggling in Colorado and K-State before you get to the Baylor game. You got to maybe make hay while the sun shines over these next 4 games because you get Colorado, K-State, Baylor, and West Virginia. I'd say 3 of those teams are fighting for bowl eligibility. And the other one is Baylor, who we really don't know. Baylor, I don't know. But then, you get Iowa State, BYU, Houston, and Cincinnati to round out the year. I'd say that's much tougher.
It's a tough end of this season, for sure. But cool. That'll wrap things up here for this episode. Recapping TCU's loss to Arizona State, 27-24. It was not a fun game, but at the end of the day, you gotta talk about the wins, as fun as they are, but you also gotta talk about the losses. So we'd like to thank you all for hanging in there and listening to this episode of Believe in TCU. You can follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube page, or listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, all at Believe in TCU. So for Seth Dowdle, I'm Zion Trammell. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, go Frogs.